Alright, hey guys, this is Turok, and in today's video I'm going to be doing a review of chapter 1139 of One Piece. Uh, I can't wait to see Tekken's review. I just saw it came out. Um, Hi Kitty. So, we get the reveal of Ripley's husband, or slash, uh, what do you call it? Colin's dad, and, yeah, it's not Shiki. I don't know what Tekking does. Tekking like Shiki? Just like I saw that video title, I didn't watch it yet because I wanted to wait to see who it is because I just when I saw that I saw part of that movie that Shiki's in, and my gut I didn't see how it started, but I saw what kind of character Shiki's like, and I think someone else guessed correctly that this would be the guy that it is. I think it was Grand Line Review. So that probably give away if some people watch this and had watched his videos, but I'm not gonna say who it is yet. But here directly yet, but it my gut just told me it couldn't be Shiki and it had to be somebody else. Shiki just does not seem like the type of Ripley does not seem like the kind of person who'd be interested in someone like Shiki. It just didn't sit well with me. Oda just has it's kind of me understanding kind of what based on precedence what Oda does. Like when you have a character like Ripley, she's not. I don't think she's gonna be interested in a goofball like um Shiki. Oda, I don't think Oda he doesn't really do that much. When he has a woman like that who's a strong, actual strong empowered kind of woman, they always want to go for a really strong man. Usually, they like Boa is very strong, and she hated men because she had a terrible childhood under the Celestial Dragons. Which, by the way, I was just thinking about that again. Like I was thinking about Kuma's backstory and thinking about, oh God, seeing some of that stuff we saw with Kuma just made it thinking about how uh, Hancock and her sisters thinking about what happened to them was horrible. It was horrible, but anyway, uh, Hancock fell for Luffy due to his determination, his fortitude, and all that stuff. And Stussy, not Stussy, the Buckingham. She obviously must be was interested in Whitebeard because he's probably very similar. He's very tough. He's very. You just can kind of see a pattern of how. Oh, my lunch is trying to. Of what kind of characters Oda tries to pair together, and Shiki never sat well with me. I'll watch that video too at some point. Now that what is that? Can't hear probably. After I'm done watching, at some point now to see what Tekking thought why Shiki. But first, I gotta finish the Shiki movie. That one looks kind of like it could be interesting, just because Shiki's a character. I know. See, I don't watch the One Piece movies or any other movies a lot because I don't. I don't like watching stuff that's not canon. I don't have much. I have very little patience or interest or whatever to filler type content in One Piece that's not canon. That's the main point. If it's filler and it's basically canon, I would be far more interested at some point to watching stuff like that. When it's not, goodbye. I'm not interested in stuff that's not going to make an impact on the story in some way to characterization or anything. Most of the time when I've watched those movies, any characters that kind of annoy me in those in the main character cast, they somehow those movies make those traits even more annoying to me. For example, in Inuyasha, Kagome, I can't stand her most of the time because her ancestor or slash that'd be like a super great aunt Kaede put these this made this magical necklace thing that Inuyasha wears, and it allows Kagome to use a trigger word to subdue him, and she abuses that a lot throughout the series, in my opinion. I can't stand that, and that stuff happened worse in one of those movies. It was the first or second one. I can't. And Inuyasha is not exactly great either. He annoys me a lot too, but he doesn't deserve a lot of the abuse he gets. And I know someone else. Well, who was that? I was watching someone point that out. I'm actually thinking of writing a little fan fiction thing about that getting broken off and like, okay, well, sorry, Kagome, I'm not staying with you if you're gonna keep trying to abuse me like this. Anyways, um, yeah. So we're gonna get a little more stuff here. We're gonna get some exposition type stuff here, just from the Straw Hats. Now, we steered away last time. We saw more of we got to get an idea of Shamrock, who he's like, with who's Shanks's brother. He has a sword that can turn into Cerberus. I don't think that's a devil fruit though. That's right. I have to still put up the other video. I, I'm recording this now. I should be working on the last video. I was still trying to work on a drawing for my thumbnail. But anyways, I'll try and get that up as soon as I'm done with this. But I don't think. Yeah, I still don't think Shamrock's got a sword that's a devil fruit. I think Oda's introducing some other magic stuff because we got a bit of that with with the celestial dragons. That's not falling, you can't. And the Shamrock had this thing because you saw these cloud vapors coming out of his sword, and he put it in Cerberus. The Cerberus creature came out of his sword, and he attacked, used it on Loki because Loki pissed him off. And yeah, I'm still hoping Loki will kick their ass. I think they're just. This just shows how pathetic they are to me too. They're thinking, oh, we're just gonna attack you while you're down and out. It's like they have no honor, so to speak. They just think themselves better and all this stuff. Anyways, Shamrock, we found out, is probably a twin to Shanks. It would make sense to me. I don't think they can say that not if they look that much alike. And he's the older one. And what was the other stuff that happened there? Shoot, I had where did I have that? Oh, right here. Yeah, and then they rode away. And apparently they're gonna be bringing back somebody else to bringing in a third member to help in as a reinforcement to subdue Elbath. And the last thing we saw was we learned about this big story that the Elbathians have, and it's basically a legend to them because it's like apparently written in an old language. Maybe it's an archaic language to them. Actually, now that I think about that, I wonder if that's what Oda's going for. If you ever studied Scandinavian mythology, the Viking era stuff, they had those language called runes, and I don't think we have scientists have or language like experts have fully deciphered them. The kind of like we have with pretty much with hieroglyphics because of the Rosetta Stone, but I don't know if anyone ever has yet with the Viking era. The stuff we saw that the surviving stuff that came from the Viking era with the language, and then now we have more modern the Viking the Scandinavian language, Finnish, Norwegian, and Swedish respectively are quite a bit different. And I'm wondering if that's what Oda is going for as a cutoff in his fiction, and basing on like this ancient text here uh, that was translated, and then there's this mural that Frankie and Ripley found, or Frankie found it, but Ripley knew it was there. Is probably based on. I don't think there was text on the mural. It's just a big mural there, but the text we saw is just the translation in a book that Saul showed to Robin and Chopper. And I'm thinking that stuff. They talked earlier about translations of that in the story, and I'm wondering if that was because they're doing that as where these giants in the last few generations, since maybe the Void Century, are what do you call it? They are uh, not using that. That's a language that was lost even to them. And I was bringing it up in a few chapters back or so about how these guys should be the ones that know stuff because they live such long lives that their generations would have more oral communication and written communication of stuff translated handed down. But we see that's not the case either. That kind of makes sense. You often get a lot of these stories where like there's these secrets the parents and grandparents have, and there's like stuff here that's been lost too in this way that even though it's like Jarl, oh well, Jarl, the one giant we saw here, he's older than halfway between us and when the Void Century ended. We're told the Void Century ended 800 years ago. He's about 465. Yet there's like not much information. Like, did his father or his own grandfather know stuff? Oop, there it went down. Hold on a sec. My cat's playing and she knocked down a little whiteboard. I should have moved that. Anyways, yeah, would there be any information that Jarl knows that was passed down orally to him from his father or grandfather? Because his grandfather, especially if Jarl, so Jarl's 465, and so if his father, if depending on how old his father would have been, if his father was young when Jarl was born, young for them, like 200 years old, say, yeah, he wouldn't know anything about the Void Century. It would have to be that way. In that scenario, it would be like Jarl has a grandfather that would for sure have to have been likely born in the Void Century. Although we do see here that giants too seem to have some kids young. Ripley's quite young still by giant standards and had a kid here, Colin, because she's only by our age standards, she's 80, but she's like in her 20s probably. I was guessing like late 20s. I'm feeling like 28 years old or so. Anyways, yeah, so there's a lot of stuff with that going on. So now let's get back. We get back to Straw Hats. And the last chapter, they had found the guards, and the guards were talking about Shanks. Yeah, that was it. And um, yeah, so we continue here with the group, and this mysterious person is coming up. He was shown in, was it the last chapter, one right before that? He was walking up to the I think it was the one before that because we didn't see. No, it was right there. It was in the last chapter, 138. He's walking up the hill slowly. Um, and so there's the our group with Road, Zoro, Luffy, and Nami are searching for that key, and they Zoro's saying, "Well, we've been searching a while, and the sun's setting." So he's kind of saying, "Yeah, we might have to call it a night because we can't find anything. There's not going to be any light." And he says, "Well, the guards didn't have any idea where the key would be." I'm surprised they even tried to ask the guards that, because the guards could probably tell the others, "Hey, they want a key. That might not be good to talk about looking for freeing Loki." And he brings it up. Road brings it up here too. I'm kind of surprised they brought this up to the to the guards because they might get in trouble here. Yeah, he says right here. Vision my green stuff. It was like a herbal thing. Uh, so yeah, Rose says, yeah, the only one who probably would know where the key is would be Jarl and maybe other elders. And Zoro's like, oh, you mean the guy with the sword, right? And Zoro's like, well, would he tell us where it is? And Zoro's like, oh, of course not. You're he's not gonna help you let Loki escape. This is a serious crime you'd be committing, you know. Well, Zoro points out, well, we're not actually going to try and free him. I'm not sure we're going to, he says. So I'm glad Zoro. So Zoro, it kind of was like looked like he wanted to have Loki freed in the, like, I think it was 2 chapters ago, and he was like thinking, oh, maybe this guy's really strong, so I might want to free him to fight him. But he's using common sense. Luffy definitely isn't thinking about this. He's too much. He's walking around here having fun, but Zoro's keeping his wits about him. Like, yeah, we gotta make a careful consideration. I think he just wants to use this as a bargaining chip to see what Loki knows in order to find out, yeah, what's going on. He knows about Shanks, the stuff he was promising to tell Luffy. Um, uh, and yeah, Luffy's over there. Yeah, Zoro, you don't know how to take it easy. Like, no, he wants to be careful. He don't want Zoro. See, Zoro, this is where Luffy. This is where I respect Zoro here. It's not so much. So Zoro's probably thinking the bigger picture, like any of us would. Hey, we don't want to free him and have some of our friends here, these other citizens, get killed. They locked him up because he killed people. We were just in a room where we saw all these guards and people who fought to their death to try to subdue Loki after he killed his dad, and they died. And then it took Shanks and maybe other people died trying to fight him, subdue him years ago. We don't want to go free this guy that we don't know anything about and who could kill people. You know, like their blood will be on our hands. Luffy doesn't think ahead of that sometimes until stuff actually happens. He's too busy having fun. And this is where I don't like characters like Luffy from time to time because they keep that stuff in mind. It's great to have a carefree character, but not this carefree sometimes, you know? What? Isn't there a point earlier where Zoro was saying it to him in a different story? Was that back at Wano or Dressrosa? There was some point I thought he was saying, Luffy, you have to think more. You have to stop this, or we can't. Lives will be are on the line. I think at some point that's something I would like to see Luffy have an idea. Like, okay, I have to stop. So he kind of like got more. So he got more serious after Ace died, but he's still kind of being so carefree. Where in this point here, that this scares me that he's gonna keep doing this to the end of the story, and it's like, how many lives have to be lost before you start thinking the way Zoro does, just a little bit, so that you don't have people, you don't do something foolish and have people die, then realize, oh, well, I shouldn't have done that. Well, maybe next, then you just, the cycle repeats that I'm worried about, where he doesn't learn his lesson. So we switched to Nami, have a Nami come over and say, hey guys, I found something interesting. And she's kind of head to a different part of the castle, just a little ways, and found uh, what turned out to be the throne room. She saw like a red carpet and stuff, and she's just looking for treasure. Of course, we know that. Um, uh, so yeah, they end up in there, and Rhodes with them again, still like I mentioned, and he gets really scared. Like, oh, this was probably where the he's. I imagine he's afraid because this probably is where Loki killed Harold. They were in a that main lobby, like the entrance area of the castle, and we saw skeletons. No, it was in an adjacent room maybe. But now they're up here. And we don't see any bodies or skeletons. They'd be at this point. But there's all kinds of damage here that shows that it was like battle. A battle happened here. Um, and that's what everyone here starts remarking, like, wow, everything looks so wrecked. Well, then, yeah, it must have been a battle here. So this is the throne room, no? We see we see the standard type of European throne-looking thing at the far end of the chamber, with the real regal. Looks those ones always look so uncomfortable to me. I'd never want to sit in a chair like that if I was to be in a position like that. Uh, and then they see something very interesting. They see the summoning circle that are the guide knights came in, and then so all three of them. Wait, Luffy looked like he was on right in front of the circle there, right? But because in the next panel, all three of them are standing on with Road. Looks like they're in his hands, like maybe they're being careful. And one of them says like, "Oh, that's looks like a magic circle I saw in a book." Uh, and I think it's Rhodes. Is that Rhodes saying that? He explains that's like a ritual for some country used to summon demons. Does it actually summon them? Someone asked, and he's like, "Well, I don't know." And why would something be like that in his throne room? One of them asks. So yeah, wait, wasn't that group? There was a group that when Brook was sent away by Kuma, he was sent to an island where they were trying to summon things. Maybe that's where that magic came from. So that we're starting to get a little bit a tidbit there of lore where we're learning. Oh, there's magic that's used in in a particular place. And Luffy catches on like, wait a minute, this circle looks very familiar. Um, so he's piecing it. He's now his instincts his red flags are going up a little bit. Like, wait a minute, I saw it because that's right. Most of the other Straw Hats were helping evacuate. Who was with Luffy? Oh, Sanji. Sanji was the last one standing with Luffy, but Saturn was already there. Okay, yeah, I think Luffy saw the circle because Saturn appeared somewhere else. I don't think any of the Straw Hats were near Saturn. He was the first one that came. But then when he called forth, the other four came. I think that's when Luffy must have saw the circle. He was fighting Saturn already. And Sanji was there with Vegapunk, Stella, and in some points Stella was dead, and Sanji took his Stella's body, and Luffy ordered him like, yeah, just get going. I'll hold him off. Oh, and then Kizaru was there too. I remember that because I was kind of disappointed at that point because I was hoping Kizaru was going to fight with Sanji. I wanted to see how much Sanji had improved because him and Kizaru are the ones that could kind of set up. I think there's even a One Piece opening showing that because they both fight using kicks. That when we see them fighting. So, anyways, so Luffy caught on to that. So here it is. Now the mysterious father shows up and he yells something else, Straw Hat Luffy. And Luffy's like, wait, who's that? And one of them asks, is that Luffy saying that? Who is that? Is that you, a demon? That you, demon? Because I was thinking that whoever made the circle's still there. Actually, when I look back at that panel, I think there's still some like dark, cloudy energy flowing off it too. Uh, it's probably staying there, I imagine, too, because when they complete their mission, I bet that's going to be a way for the God's Knight to return to Marijois and get out of the lower realm bullshit they keep calling it. Uh, and so, yeah, Zoro, I think Nami and Road are both getting a little shit. Like, oh God, is it a demon? What's going on? Is it the spirits of the dead? Uh, and so this voice comes out like, I've always wanted to meet you. Wait, is that him or is that no? Wait, what is Zoro wearing again? I thought because I'm getting confused because this guy's wearing a striped cape. No, Zoro's got like a furry thing. Oh, Road's got the striped cape, but so does this other character. And someone's saying, "Calm yourself, calm yourself." I think that's Road. So this guy's coming in. Uh, I think Road's. Oh, is Road like running around? He's like freaking out. I think like, oh, where do we go? The spirits of the dead are gonna get us, or the castle's cursed, and he's freaking out. I think he's trying to escape. Yeah, he's trying to get out of there, and he don't know which way to go because the voice. I guess this guy is like screaming so loud, it's like echoing because this is hall. So is that Road again? For reference, this hall. Yeah, if you go up here, actually, you can see this hall is so tall, high, I should say, that Road is like it's like 4 times of giant height. So this guy yelling like this is probably echoing everywhere. Uh, I doubt that would be realistic though. It'd be probably not. This guy's probably got insanely good voice that he's echoing. But so I think this panel's showing that Roach kind of like freaking out. I thought that was the other guy for a minute because he's wearing a similar cape. I thought he was like sneaking up on them, but I think that's supposed to be Roach freaking out. So what happens is the next panel, suddenly this axe starts flinging, and it goes and he uses it to throw the in front of Road to make him stop freaking out and running away to kind of stop him for a sec. And he does. Road like goes out like ah, and he's doing that, and then it makes Luffy, Zoro, and Nami's fall out of the hand. And Robin, no, yeah, Nami for a second, like, Zoro, save me. And, oh, God, I just realized Zoro does catch her. It's a good thing Sanji's not there. He catches her, standard right in his arms. If Sanji saw that, he would fucking have a heart attack. He's like, you can't save her. I have to do it. That is almost cute. I don't know why. I always, not always, but in early parts, I kind of thought when I was reading, like maybe Nami and Zoro would be a better couple. Definitely better than Sanji and Nami. It's just, I don't know. it kind of gets me like, oh, maybe they have a thing. I don't know. I think it's gonna be Zoro. It's gonna hook up with Tashigi in the end. I don't know. I feel bad for Hiyori though, because she's really seems smitten with Zoro. But if Oda does any kind of matchmaking of other characters, I think it's gonna be Sanji with Pudding and Zoro likely with Tashigi. But I'd rather him be with Hiyori. And then so they look around like, where's that voice coming from? And then they look to the throne, and the guy's sitting there, and uh, I mean, first though, Rhodes like, oh, I'm so sorry, Nami, I didn't mean to freak out, and she's like, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you for throwing me in the air like that. And now we get it. We get a look at the guy. We got this old man. He's dressed. He's dressed. First, he's got like the hat. I got like the one up there. I get sunburned easily, so I bought one of these a couple years ago. Really helpful for me to keep the sun. My mother is Hispanic, but my dad is full Northern European, and I got that. I burn easily, so I bought one of those. And so that guy's wearing that kind of hat. I don't know what they're called. And he's dressed up. He's got like a cloak on, and again, it looks similar to the style Rhodes wearing. So maybe that's a typical thing to wear in Albath, because this guy's been living here a while. Then he's wearing like shorts, and he's got like looks like a Hawaiian shirt underneath though, with short sleeve. And And Rhodes knows who this guy is, and everyone else probably does, because this we know, like right, this is Colin's father and Ripley's husband. So he's like, so Rhodes like, oh, Yarshi. That's probably some honorific. Because his name here is Yarsh San, but I'll tell you in a minute who he is. He's like, oh, what are you doing here? And it's just this resident of Elbath, human, former pirate. And the guy explains, well, I sensed a strange hockey coming from the castle, but it seems it's gone now. So, but instead, I found you guys. And do they show here where his name is? Uh, so, anyways, let me tell you now. It's Scopper. How do you say Scopper? This is Scopper Gaban. This is the guy who was the what do you call it? The other main, the second mate, the left hand man of Gold Roger. We saw him briefly. I don't know how many times I may have shown him, but I remember him mostly from the Odin flashback. He was there and he was wielding two axes. And when Odin was gonna start a fight with them, him and Rayleigh were like, "Yeah, we'll stop him." And Roger was like, "No, I'll take care of it." And him and Rayleigh are like, "You just want to fight him, don't you?" Because that's right. Because Roger said like, "Oh, I don't want you guys to get hurt. I'll take care of it." And him and Rayleigh are like, "Yeah, we know you just want to fight him." So we met Scopper Gaban. Now this is the third. What's this now? Does this make three former members of Roger's crew we've met? Because we've met Krogus. He was on the crew a part of the crew in the last journey because he was helping Roger with his sickness. We've met Rayleigh. Now we got Gaban. Is that how you say his name? Let me check a sec. Yeah, Scopper Gaban. And I pulled up the episode here. So yeah, he is I don't think they have an age for him, but based on how he's looking in here, he's probably in his 60s at least. So I know actually he's might be older. That's right. Rayleigh's in his nearly 80, right? I think he's supposed to be about 80. And Gaban, I don't think has an age. He looks a little younger than Rayleigh, though. I'm looking at this. This is from episode 965, and so there's a shot here next to Rayleigh, and Rayleigh's using a sword, and he's wielding two battle axes, and so he's a little shorter than Rayleigh, but he's a little broader shouldered, and he yeah, back then he was wearing like it's not quite a polo shirt, but it's kind of like that. It's got a little V, and it comes out to, not like and it's got like nice yellow color, and he's got a sash and just pants and very long hair, and he's still got the long hair, and so I'm just trying to get his name right. I'll probably they don't. So he took on some other. Just now the funny thing too is I want to stop and contemplate or point out like it's funny because now we see where that how these different members of the Rogers Pirates have oh wait a minute, what's one other thing? Oh, one other thing is he's wearing glasses here in the present, but in the flashback he wasn't. And he grew a beard. He didn't have any kind of facial hair back then, except maybe sideburns, but now he's grown out a full beard as well. Anyways, so come on, get down. So wow. And so this is just great to see this guy. Because I don't know, I haven't watched enough of some supplemental or read enough supplemental material to know what I didn't know about him until I saw the Odin flashback or remember him maybe. And so I don't know if he reveals himself here, but they show him. They confirm it with something. I know they confirm with a amount of flashback with him and Roger later that this is him. So he's like, "Well, Luffy, I've heard of rumors of you, Straw Hat Luffy. Seems like you took down Kaido, didn't you? It's been so long since I've been there. Now I can finally travel back to Wano country." Actually, I'm sorry. I wanted to stop and go back and say it's really great to see. To think about, okay, these guys are all hiding in these various countries or places. He is, anyways, and I imagine some of the others that they've been hiding in these specific places that would make it difficult for the government to track them down and bring them into justice because they were part of Roger's crew. Crocus, I wonder if Crocus was kind of so incognito among Roger's crew by that last journey that they don't know that he's guarding that spot where because he's at Reverse Mountain, which is the entrance point that most people who travel from the Blues to the Grand Line will go through. And he's sitting there watching Laboon for 50 years, Actually, and that's something I want to bring up briefly again. Who the hell watched Laboon? What did Laboon? The Crocus have a friend watch Laboon when he spent like what 3 years helping Roger. Anyways, Gabon here is been hiding in friggin' uh uh Wano, not Wano, sorry, Elbath, and we're gonna find it. So we can figure out he's gonna clarify the age, but it makes sense. He's been here probably since shortly after Roger's passing. Roger died, I think it's 24 years ago now, right? And Yarshi, wait, how does he say the name? So why does he call him? There's something going on with the honorifics here. Luffy's like, wait, why are you calling him Yarshi? And then no, Rhodes is like, well, in Elbath he's known as Yarsan. Uh, and then Rhodes like, you went to the school, right, and met Professor Ripley? This is her husband. And because she explained that to them. Wait, did they show that? I think that was he there when they did that? Hold on, go back a sec. Hold on, I can go back. I got the chapter here. I think she explained it in front of. Yeah, right. Yeah, Luffy was there, and so was some of the others. Sanji. That's when Sanji was there. He's like, oh, someone. And this symbolism is good because Scopper is basically to Roger what Sanji is to Luffy in the hierarchy. So Rayleigh's the Zoro, and this guy is the Sanji in the hierarchy sense. We don't know if he's anything like Sanji any other way. I hope he's not. He doesn't seem like it, but we'll find out. So so yeah, Luffy was there. That was in 1135. So Rhodes here goes, yeah, that's her husband. This is the one she was talking about. And Luffy's like, oh, yeah, that's right. You're the son of, you're the father of that big little guy. So maybe he forgot Colin's name. He tends to forget names, Luffy. Um, and he's like, oh, you met big little guy indeed. He is. So you met them both, have you? Uh, he's like, he inherited a lot of giant blood. Even as a child, he was just too big for me to carry. And there's a little side panel showing this. So he's 20 years old. You know, that's his actual the age as we calculate it. So, but he's like probably 10 or so, maybe 8. So, and then then they show her, and Ripley's 80. I think this is Gabon saying this, and he's like, yeah, she's actually older than me. Okay, so right, so I think Rayleigh was about 80. I said, and so that means he's a little younger. Like I checked here, I don't think he has an age on here. I can't find anything on about his age. No, actually, there is a shot there. This image here that they have on the wiki does show him with those same glasses. But when I looked at the episode with Odin, he wasn't when him and Rayleigh were about to fight with Odin. Anyways, and he's like, marrying a giant really isn't worth it when you think about how I'm the only one aging. He seems very jovial though. Actually, I think he's got a big one of those gourds of sake type thing with him. Those the Japanese style containers, of traditional ones for carrying alcohol in with, and he's got to sit next to him. And Nami's like looking at him like, oh, yeah, I guess. And she's like, well, I think someone like this exists. I wonder if she just means like someone who would try to marry a giant. But now he goes on to something interesting here. He's going on about this, but he brings up some interesting stuff. He's like, oh, well, love is freedom. Historically, many mixed races have existed. So first he's trying to say, well, love has no boundaries, even size. But how did you? Never mind. All I can think of is there was a place where he was able to be gigantified shortly, or she was shrunk so that they could do it. And then he brings up a list of different rings. He's like, oh, Buccaneers, Dusundadas, what the heck? Long limbs, we know that, and then Wutons. Wait, Wuton. Have you heard of that one? And he's like, hybrid races, they always struggle to survive. But in every era, there's always some of those who know how to adapt. So we got right there, stop. I got to stop. The Buccaneers, I was bringing it up a few times. I'm sure others have too. I think that kind of helps us show that what's going on with someone like Big Mom, Kaido. Yeah, we knew what Kaido. We kind of talked about in the last chapter. Uh, um, the Whitebeard and Kuma are all probably of. We know we absolutely know it with Kuma and Kaido. Kaido's got the horns, so that means he's probably got the Oni Oars race. I'm gonna call it the Oni race temporarily. The We know that Buccaneers, that Kuma's a Buccaneer. His father knew they were Buccaneers. That's why he was so worried about them being captured. And unfortunately, the Cypher Pole agents did. Rest in peace to Kuma's parents, because they were trying to avoid cover, but the Cypher Pole agents were two fucking bastards. Anyways, okay, they are hinting that this guy's like Sanji. Hold on. Zoro's like, yeah, you've seen a lot of stuff, but who are you? And he declares like, oh, I'm just a missionary of love. And Luffy's like, yeah, this is what Sanji's gonna probably end up like when he's older, isn't he? I don't know. I hope not. Maybe he's being this way now, but like my gauging of him when he was with Rayleigh was that I liked him a little better because he seemed like someone who would get along with Rayleigh, and he wasn't. Because Zoro and Sanji just don't like each other, and I usually want to side with Zoro because Sanji acts more like a simp, but I think they're kind of laying out that yeah, this guy's more like that, and I can see now how that would make Rayleigh like Zoro, because Zoro and Rayleigh both love to drink a lot. Though a lot of characters in One Piece do. Look at Whitebeard. Jesus, he was bad too. Him and I would love to see a drinking contest when they were live between not Roger, Rayleigh and Whitebeard. See who wins. Anyways, so we're kind of getting at that he's very eccentric. So Luffy's like, okay, well, old man, I'm looking for the key to help free that would get Loki out of his thing. And it's and Rhodes like, dude, don't say that. He's probably yelling, don't say that so casually. We gotta be careful. We don't want someone to hear us. But of course, he probably wouldn't know. And Luffy's like, oh, well, forget about it. Forget I ever said that. And who says that? Zoro probably like, oh, God. Luffy. And what's his name? Oh, come on, kitty. Oh, my kitty's coming up. Come on. Come on, kitty. You want to stay here? She's bored because she can't go out. It's too cold out. And and then Gaban's like, Scopper's like, oh, Loki? He's like, well, interesting. I love seeing some trouble some mayhem happen, especially when it's done by other people. He's become very eccentric. Also, I think he's got a big scar on his right side of his face. Is that in? Let me pull this up. No, I don't think he had that when we look in Odin's flashback. At least not in the anime. And Nami's like tries to reprimand, like, don't say something like that. That's not something you should be saying. Um. Uh. Uh. And he's just like, oh, chill out. And Gaban's like, oh, calm down, little miss. Secrets are meant to be spread. Wait, why is he saying it like that? Okay, there's some translation there. And she's yelling at him, like, stop saying stuff like that. Don't cause trouble. I guess what they're kind of hinting at is like, I think they're hinting at Gaban's the kind of guy who likes to watch mayhem happen. Like I said, as long as it's not him doing it. But so the Gaban turns to I don't know, Scopper. I like calling it Scopper better, but I think that's his last name, right? Yeah. So he's like, do you know what kind of Luffy? Are you sure you want to do this? Do you know what kind of man Loki is? If the worst happens, what will you do? And Luffy's like, well, I'll just beat him up and lock him up again. And Scopper goes, well, one time in the past, it took Red Hair Shanks to capture him. Until then, no one else had been able to do it. And he goes on like, who knows what kind of power does he have? If by any chance happens, do you know how much damage there will be? And then he's rambling on trying to make Luffy like think about his choices. But this just makes Zoro and Luffy, they have this comedic moment. They just walk away. And they're like, let's just look for the key. This guy's talking way too much for us. And then Nami and it's probably Road to like, guys, stop it. He's trying to warn us something important. So, but you can tell here that Scopper's not offended by this, and we're gonna get a little flashback. We start a little flashback here. First, like Rhodes, like please, he calls him that Yarshi. Please don't let them. Please forgive them. They're new here. Like he, okay, so we get the in the point here that the idea that Scopper has become very respected here, especially by someone much a younger member of the giant community citizen. And Scopper's like, "What? Don't worry about it." He just well, he doesn't say that, but he has this look like, "Yeah, I'm not worried about it. I know who I'm dealing with." And we get a two-panel flashback, um, and we see Roger, Rayleigh, and Scopper in silhouette, and Rayleigh and Scopper are standing together, and Roger's yelling at like, "I'm sick of you guys warning me of these warnings. Are you guys pussies? Are you scared?" And the other two are like, "We never said that." And they're both just kind of like, hmm. You can tell with the body language. So you can't see the face, but they got the cross arm. And then the next panel is Scopper headbutt pushing head as they kind of show in the anime manga. But headbutt, it's very common. Scopper's standing up to him, and Roger is like, um, and Roger's like, if you want to stop me, then you'll have to fight with me. And Scopper is yelling back at him, you have to understand the risk, Roger. Don't be an idiot. So he's realizing at this point that he can't argue with these youths who have, and he's in the same way feeling, you can tell, feeling a little proud to see that these two are like much like who he when he hung out with Roger back in the day. So I think now this makes me afraid that he's gonna die if he has to help Luffy fight Loki. No, I don't want him to die yet. Die. We just met him. Well, not die yet. Die in his arc. I'm getting scared there. Um. Um. So he's like. So he's gonna try and help them kind of. So first, what he does is, um, he's like, "Hey, Road, push the throne." And he's like, "Wait, what? What are you talking about?" So we switch briefly to the others are asking that we're back at the party in the village, and they're asking the others are asking, "Oh, what's Ripley's husband like?" And so we have is that Oimon or Kobe? One of the two wait, let me find their names. Can I get over here quick? Oh, what's my computer doing? Oh, it's working. Let me see if I can find which one. No, I'm on. Oh yeah, Oimoy. No, he's that one. Yeah, it is that one. Wait, Oimoy and Kashi. Yeah, that's Oimoy. Yeah, I think it's Oimo. He's telling this story to the uh get this up to the Straw Hats, and oh yeah, Jarl's still there. You can see, man, you can see Jarl. He's standing way over the other ones. Okay, so he's explaining it. So someone had already asked who's this guy that Ripley's and Colin have been talking about, and so he goes on by saying, "Oh, long ago he was part of the Pirate King's crew." And he said, "You just along with Roger, he had two incredibly strong subordinates." And Usopp's like, "Wait, there was another guy just like Rayleigh, or besides Rayleigh?" And Oimon continues, and we get a little silhouette next to his face. Like, that's right. Uh, and he said one time when Roger was during Roger's treatment, I'm thinking he means he stopped here when he was sick. Roger and this man were staying. They're staying in the hospital deep in the mountains. I think he means the mountains of here. Not, and he says, while they were staying there, this hospital was the pirates came and tried to attack uh, came to attack them. And is that Ripley there listening? And and it says this man, Ripley's husband, he just walked up all by himself, and with just while only wielding two axes, he took care of all those pirates. And Usopp's like, wait, what? He only did with 2 axes? And he said, oh, and there was more. During that battle, all he left behind was the mountain. One of the mountains were completely devastated. They say that not a single tree was left standing. And he says because of that story, he's now known as the Mountain Eater. Uh, is that someone says here? That's a well-known story. Is that Jinbei saying that? I think it's Jinbei. This and then this shows someone. I think it's Oimo continues. This man was called the left hand of the Pirate King, standing side by side with first mate Silver's Rayleigh. And the others Sanji. Yeah, who's there? Sanji, Brooke, Usopp, and Jinbei are here listening to this story, right? So that's right, Chopper, Robin. Yeah. So the others are all here to hear this story. So now we're coming near the end. We go back to the others, to Road and Scopper and everyone, and we see like, oh, there's a secret chamber behind the throne, and someone's like, oh, a treasure chamber. Oh no, I think that's someone else says that. But then Nami's like, oh, you're the best, Scopper. You found the treasure chamber. And Road, and so they start going down there together. Oh, you hear Robin go like, "Oh, treasure, treasure," or something like that. And Rhodes like says to Scopper, or yeah, he keeps calling him Yarshi. Like, how did you know about this place? And Scopper responds, "Well, exploring is just my hobby." Um, and what's he got there? Oh, okay. So they go down there and like, "Ooh, is a treasure?" But then they just find the chamber is a big room, but it's like it's all empty. No, big. It's not as big as like the throne room was. It's probably the size of a. We only see part of it. It looks like my room here is like what, a 12 by 12, no, something like that. It's probably like a decent sized room like that, and it's just all empty. And Nami's like, who is that? Who says it really was a treasure chamber back in the day? But Nami's like, you liar! You said it'd be treasure. And was that Road she's yelling at? And I think it's either Road or Scopper. Like, well, this is the abandoned castle. Of course, somebody would come try here and try and pillage uh all the stuff. Actually, because what happens next, I feel like Scopper may have been one of the ones doing this. Because he's like, "Whoa, well, look over there. There's a key. Something even the thieves wouldn't want." Nah, uh, wait a minute. No, wait. What happens here? One sec. So I got one part of the story wrong. The story is the way Oimon was telling that story was not telling them right away that Ray Scopper is Ripley's husband. They start talking about this legend. Oh, it's probably was going more like, oh, did I ever tell you that? Did you guys ever hear about the legend of Scopper Gaban? He was he was one of the strongest members after Roger and the crew, and so that's where the story was going. So it continues here. First, there's gonna be a little voiceover from that story coming over as we watch Scopper here. So Scopper jumps over to the key, and he's like, "Ah, yes." So in other words, this key, the thieves who came here and pillaged it knew that this key was about Loki, the free Loki, and even they wouldn't want his liberation. Would you steal the key? First we go. So we go back to the others now, and Oimo's like, yeah, now they say at the end of the story, oh, by the way, that guy we were talking about, that legendary figure on Roger's crew, he's here. He's been living in Albath for over 20 years. The legendary figure who stood as an equal to Roger and Rayleigh, the left hand of the Pirate King. And we go back to Gaban. He goes up to the key. He's taking off his hat and a cloak. And he's like, if you want to steal the key, Luffy, you have to take it from me. Scopper Gaban. And it just ends. He's got this serious smile and he picks up the key and you're like, oh God, Luffy's gonna have to prove himself now. So now we're really gonna have to see. This is gonna be great. Oh, look at break next week. Oh, good, because I'm falling behind on these. So Scopper, this is gonna be cool because if Scopper is on par with Rayleigh, now we're gonna have to see where Luffy and his gear, his awakening is gonna be putting him on par with someone like Scopper, because we saw how Luffy's Gear 4th transformations were not enough to stand up to Rayleigh, and Rayleigh's, 3 times older than him, no, 4 times older than him. And he's still got more strength, and it's gonna be what? How's this gonna play out? Holy shit! I am so happy this is Scopper and not not someone else. Goofy. I'm sorry, Tekking. I'm sorry it wasn't Shiki, but this makes more sense. We needed to meet him first. We need to get more of Roger's crew, and I would like to see more of some of those members they showed from. Who else was it? Do we have? Yeah, we have Shiki. We met Stussy. We know that Granny, Boa's great granny, is part of. They were all part of the Rocks crew. I'm trying to think who else was there. I would like to meet more of those people that we may not have only saw briefly. Oh yeah, there was Wang Ji. Was he the one that was killed by Blackbeard at Rocky Port? There was Wang Ji, and there was Captain John, which we saw his corpse was found by uh, um, Moria. So I'm glad we're doing this because we're getting to the end of the story. This is probably like the last beginning of the last saga leading to One Piece, the One Piece to Raftel. So it's great to see more of Roger's crew here. I feel like there's some other ones. Did they show some of those silhouette people there? Anyways, this is something we had to see. I'm really glad how Oda introduced Gabon into the story. Especially because he's probably just as much wanted as Rayleigh. But what Rayleigh decided to do was um, go stay in Sabaody, and they know he's there, but they don't want to like risk manpower catching him. But by the way, after seeing what Garp could do, I'm a little surprised Garp just didn't challenge him to a duel somewhere. Like, I'll bring you in. I'm gonna have to bring you in, or something, if he really wants to. I'm kind of thinking Garp at some point has realized it's not worth going after them, that they really weren't the bad guys the government says it, so maybe that's why he never did. But this was a good chapter. I really liked seeing Gabon. He's my favorite design of a character, his younger form, that younger look that we saw, that to have in this story, to have him come back. So also it's funny too. I wonder what kind of fight would have gone on if he had happened to get up to the castle, because he said he came there, Scopper, because he sensed the hockey from Gunko and Shamrock. So he came there investigating and just happened to run into the Straw Hats that came. So also I forgot to bring up. Yeah, they showed there was another panel with the story with Yamato, and it just shows who's who again. And he's got some sword. What is that sword he's got? That pattern looks familiar. I'm gonna have to look that up. So yeah, we didn't see anything else about that text. Now we left off on that, so we don't get anything else on that yet. I don't know. I wonder if Scopper has anything that will help on that. But hopefully we're gonna get a good fight next chapter with Scopper and Luffy. I wonder if he'll just fight Luffy, or he'll have them both challenge him, meaning Zoro. Cause oh god, this is gonna be good. Um, so he's got a new nickname now, the Mountain Eater, because he defeated a bunch of giants, or not giants. Where was that? They were at hospitals. All they said. Um. So, anyways, yeah, looks like Scopper's supposed to be kind of a Sanji, though. I just wonder. I want to know how that works. Too, I want to know if he really is like Sanji, and he's simps after every woman he meets. I don't know if they showed any of that in the Odin flashback. I'm gonna have to go look. But this was really cool, and you can tell he's more like a chaotic person. Something about him makes it sound like he's like something about him reminds me of Usopp, where he's kind of like, oh yeah, I love causing problems and chaos, and but I love the ladies too. But of course, he's also a competent warrior. So it's just also, yeah. Did I mention, yeah, he's got the beard. But he's looking real good. Now I need to know his age. I want to know if maybe Oda will release some kind of what do you call it, the Vivra cards on him, because I can't find his age. All we know is he's younger than 80, which is Ripley's age. And Yeah, I can't think of anything else to say on this one now. I'm out of ideas because there's just so much else going on here now. This was a really good chapter. It was really fun to see, and I'm glad we have a break because I still haven't actually got the chapter 113A up as I'm recording this. So I'm gonna leave this here. Thanks for watching.